Looks like you're about ready to put that in the soup.
I am.
All right. That right there you're putting in the soup. Oh, you got it. Did you cut that all up?
It's not chopped. It's
Oh.
just peeled away, but.
Okay.
It is very fine. Again, I want to see it. I just want to taste it. And I want it all over the soup. I want it every spoonful to have some of this. I'm going to chop it really fine. You can see this is a pulp.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to taste so good. Again, I recommend people wear gloves. Like this. Look how good that is.
It's smelling pretty good over there. You still got a ways to cook this down. What, another 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, I added that water to it, so it brought the temperature back down. Oh, look at that. Let's see.
So because you added that water, you got to let it all soak in there and heat back up now, don't you?
And boil.
Okay, so you leave the lid off like that, because if you put that lid on right now and walk away from here, what's going to happen?
It's going to boil over.
It's going to boil over and make a huge mess all over the stove. We don't want that.
No.
Okay, so how much longer do you think? 20 minutes, 25 minutes?
Possibly. Again, I'm going to check on it off and on. Where's my next thing?
Well, I mean, a first timer who's making this soup, they're not going to know the ins and outs about checking on it, are they?
It's good to check on it. You don't want mushy vegetables.
Well, how do you know? That's the $100,000 question when you're making soup like this. How do you know when cooking it too much is too much?
That's why you should check it periodically.
You check it periodically and you just kind of
I go in there and
you taste them or what?
No, I just tap on the vegetable. Well, that's still hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to get mushy eventually because I'm going to heat it and eat it for several days. So I don't want to start with super mushy vegetables. I want them done. But
They're going to be done. They're not going to be so firm that they're chewy. You don't want them or crunchy. You don't want that.
no.
Right? Okay, so you're going to check on this in another 20 minutes or so.
I am. Yeah. I'm going to about 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
I'm going to come and check on it.
15 more minutes. Okay, let's do it. Hey, so the whole process of making this soup from start to finish would be about how long, would you say? Cutting the vegetables, doing everything, an hour or so maybe?
An hour.
An hour, and that's going to feed you all week.
All week long. And it's an hour because I do extra things like the jalapenos. That's something extra.
Right.
You know, you don't have to do. But,
And how much would you say this big, huge container of soup cost you to make?
Good question. I will say,
I'm going to take a wild guess and say $8 or $9.
if that.
Maybe less than $10, and you could have soup for a week, probably for 2 people.
Yes, I feed my coworkers. It's really economical. It's definitely less than $1 a day.
Less than $1 a day for at least lunch, and maybe a snack or so.
Sometimes I have it for breakfast.
You'll have it for breakfast.
Because it's so light. If I have a meal that consists of breads and pastas, it makes me sleepy. However, when I have my soup, I'm good. I can function.
Okay.
Plus, it's healthy stuff in there, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can buy, this is not organic vegetarian vegetable soup, but you could buy all organic stuff and it's going to cost a little bit more, but you could do it that way too, could you not?
You could.
And what about, here's a question for you. Could you put like steak bits in there or chicken or anything like that? When would you put that in that type of soup?
At the very beginning.
The very, very beginning?
Very beginning. And I have made it out of, I have put chicken in there, chicken pieces. That goes in with the onions and the jalapenos.
Okay, so you cut that up in little chunks, small little chunks?
No, I just use chicken thighs.
Okay.
But you could use chicken breasts and cut in small pieces.
Well, what do you mean
steak.
chicken thighs? Put the whole thigh and just leave it in there and then you'd have to cut it later?
Later, I do take it out and I get rid of the skin and the bone and then just pretty much pull it apart.
Oh, pull it apart and then throw it back in the soup. Okay.
We can do that next time.
Or you can get boneless chicken
Yeah.
breasts or something and cut that in chunks, throw that in.
Yeah,
Okay. But I kind of prefer the vegetarian vegetable.
I do too. It's light.
know?
And it's good for you. You feel good eating it.
I mean, you could put vegetarian burger stuff in there as a substitute. What is that other stuff you had? That chorizo or something?
That soy chorizo. I've done that to my soup too.
Okay, so you could use that. What about like
I put crumbles. TVP.
what's that?
Texturized vitamin protein.
TVP, and throw that in there, and that just would give it a little bit more texture or something.
It's for texture. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about tofu? If you got tofu, could you put tofu in there?
I put tofu in there. It will start to crumble. So what I did with mine is I cut the tofu, I fried it in garlic and a little bit of oil, and threw it in there, and it stayed together better.
Okay.
And it was really tasty.
Good.
I've also put meatless meatballs in there too.
Meatless meatballs?
Trader Joe's has them.
Okay, and just throw that in, and so then when you have your soup,
Because they're already cooked, you just want to put them at the end.
so your vegetarian vegetable soup would have meatless meatballs in there too, and you just leave them all cooked together. You wouldn't cut those up.
No. It's like a meatball soup with vegetables. It's really good.
Okay.
There's so many possibilities. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this. There's no right or wrong way to do it. If you notice, I didn't measure anything. I just put it together in the pot.
Okay, so if you want to put pasta in there, you can throw however much pasta you want in there.
In any kind. You can be macaroni, it could be spaghetti, whatever you want.
Okay.
Which I do.
All right.
Brown rice is really good too.
Yeah.
But today I use that special blend. I've had it before and it's very tasty.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm anxious to see what you're going to do at the end for this soup because it's starting to smell kind of good in here.
The grand finale is right here.
Okay, that's your grand finale. And you got kale and cilantro, and that's just what you decided for this go around on this soup. And you have not thrown that in yet. You're going to throw that in last, I hear.
I'm going to shut it off, throw it in, and cover it.
Okay. All right.
It'll be good.
I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay. Bye, Joe.
Bye.